Hi, welcome back to today's devotion from history. On April 13th of AD 73, about 900 Jewish Zealots had a choice to make, and they made a choice that has caused them to be remembered for the last almost 2,000 years as the martyrs of Masada. A few decades after the crucifixion of Christ, Jewish Zealots formed a revolt against Rome, and Rome came in and brutally put down that revolt with the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. Now, about 900 Jewish zealots and their families were able to escape from Jerusalem, and they took up refuge in a fortress that Herod the Great had built near the Dead Sea. That fortress was called Masada. And for almost 3 years, they were able to build a community and hold off against the siege of the 15,000 Roman troops that had come in to take the fortress. But by April 13th of 73, they knew that within about 24 hours, the Roman army would breach the walls. And their choices were the Roman sword or captivity for them or their families. Neither choice was acceptable to these zealots, and so they had a meeting and made a decision. Suicide was against Jewish teaching, and so that was out of the question. So here's what they chose to do. They cast lots, and they chose 10 men who would serve as executioners for the others. Each head of the family took his wife and children, laid down on the ground, and waited for the final blow by their chosen executioner. Almost 900 of them. And when the deed was done and all that was left was the 10 that had been chosen to be executioners, they again cast lots, choosing one man who would execute the other 9, and then only he would take his own life. Well, at dawn, when the Roman army breached the walls of Masada, they found a ghostly stillness and almost 900 dead bodies. Eventually, out of the stillness came 2 old women and 3 children who had hidden during all of this and told the story of the events of the night before. To this day, Masada is regarded as a very sacred place for Jewish people. And if you are inducted into the Israeli army, you take your oath of induction on top of Masada and swear that it will never happen again. You know, history shows us that there have always been people who found things worth living for and worth dying for. And when we learn wisdom from history looking back and understand the things that are eternal looking forward, then we gain wisdom to know the difference of what's worth living for and what's worth dying for. Because there really are things that qualify for both. But we need wisdom to know the difference. Because there are some things that aren't worth giving our lives for, and there are some things that aren't worth living for at all. Only a full understanding of the past and the future of eternity help us to have the wisdom to know the difference. So today on April 13th, as we remember the story of the martyrs of Masada, we can remember to look at our own lives and evaluate, is there anything that we find worth dying for or worth living for? Those are the kinds of questions that we have to ask if we want to be people that truly one day make history.